Hey everybody, I am on the line right now with Leon St. Giovanni, LSG. Has a Pure Rules match with Jay Lethal this weekend on Ring of Honor television. LSG, how you doing today?
Thanks for having me, man. Doing good.
It's your first match back with Ring of Honor since February, and I know you've been keeping busy in the interim. You've worked for WrestlePro, Synergy in the meantime, but what's it like just really getting back to work with Ring of Honor? You guys were in the bubble, going down, doing that whole thing. What's it been like for you? Just preparation for that. Really, what's a new process for everybody, but a new process for Ring of Honor.
Right. It's good to be home. It's good to be back home. I spent the last 5 years with Ring of Honor, um, and I was just dying to get back. I didn't know what the future was going to hold for me there because um, stopped doing the tag team thing back in December, and then it had a few matches with them in this, before the pandemic really took over the world. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen. So when I got the call for the bubble, I was pretty pumped because I had already been, doing wrestling events since July. I'd been pretty active during the quarantine, actually. So I felt like I was very prepared. And I was just excited, especially because now is going to be like a new chapter, just a fresh start for me.
Now, you mentioned you were doing tag team work with Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Is that like completely done with? Is that something you can see yourself going back to, or are you really just trying to establish yourself as a singles wrestler right now?
Right now, I'm focused on myself, just establishing myself as a singles competitor. I would never say no again because I had such a great time with Shaheem. We got to do some amazing things. Got to travel the world and wrestle in Germany and Mexico and all over the country with some of the best tag teams in the world. So I'll never say never. It's cliche, but I'll never say never.
Now, as we mentioned, you've been active since the last Ring of Honor show. You worked different shows for WrestlePro in New Jersey. Synergy Wrestling is based out of the state, and some of the matches that I know you've done, you were in the Dream 16 tournament, and then you did a dog collar match. So
Yeah.
doing all of that kind of wrestling where you're really, I mean, not that you're used to a dog collar match, but that's normal wrestling, quote unquote. What's the transition like for you going into a pure rules match, especially when you have some high flying moves in your
Yeah.
arsenal?
Yeah, it was a very stark contrast. In September, I had that dog collar match in Alaska, and it's a completely different mindset. We're beating the hell out of each other and punching each other in the face, and using a chain to our advantage. And then you fast forward a month, and I'm in the bubble, and you can't throw a closed fist. If you throw it to two, I think you're disqualified. So it's a mind game. It's very strategic, and I pride myself on being a really good technical wrestler. And I think this is an opportunity for the Ring of Honor fans to see a different side of me because in the past they've just seen. I think they've only seen kind of one side of me, the guy that can fly around and jump out of the ring and do flips and things like that. And I want to show them what I've been capable of this whole time. And I think now that the spotlight's just on me, and as a singles competitor, they're going to get to see a different side. And the Pure Rules division is like a perfect place for me to show that off.
Yeah, and I think one thing you can say about the pure rules, not only the tournament but the division itself, is you're getting a lot of different athletes being forced into conforming to that style. And PJ Black and Matt Seidel, two of the guys that were in the tournament, I spoke with them while it was going on, and it's kind of like the same thing. Like you're known, or almost where it's almost like a stereotype where you're saying, okay, they're high flyers, they're this, and they can do so much more. So do you feel like you're in the same category where you've been pegged as a certain type of wrestler, but you actually feel like this is something that you're going to excel at?
Yeah, totally. When I saw that they were included in the tournament, I kind of felt like there was hope for me to do it one day
Mhm.
because I thought, well, if they're looking outside of the box, because the typical guys you look at are like Gresham, Lethal, Hot Sauce, Tracy Williams. It was just cool to just kind of just shock people or surprise people. You know, I
Mhm.
think people are really going to enjoy the match with Lethal. Um, and I really really enjoy getting those reactions of just like shock and surprise from people because, like I said, I've spent the last 4 or 5 years wrestling a certain style, and they're gonna see a different side of me, a more mature side, a smarter side, a more aggressive side.
John Walters, he just said he was trying to make a comeback in wrestling. So, you know, you'd think the door is open for him to come back to Ring of Honor, especially with the Pure title back in
Yeah, I hope
reinstated.
so. 'Cause, yeah, he was one of the. I think he was one of the first champions.
I think it was the
I,
second.
the set, yeah.
I
So like a guy like him would be fantastic. I mean, I hope that happens. I saw him write something about that going back to wrestling. So I was like,
yeah.
fingers crossed, because that's a guy I would love to get in the ring with.
Mm,
And
I,
a strange story, actually, I'll throw this in there. I actually just saw it because you know how wrestling's weird. You get notified about matches you have by just going on social media, and
mhm.
I'm actually tagging with him in Alaska next year.
Nice.
So me and John Walters are tagging up. So that's kind of cool for 15-year-old me. I'm kind of like excited about that.
Yeah. So he was actually the third champion, AJ Styles, and then it was Doug Williams, and then him. But uh, throwing a quick plug for WrestlePro Quick, you guys are going back for the is it 5 shows in April?
Yes, five. I think it's
Okay.
5 events in 10 days,
Yeah, it's
all over the state, and Alaska's huge, so that's gonna be crazy.
the Northern Expansion Tour. I
Yeah.
forget the exact details, but I know Kev and Pat for a few
Yep.
years now. So go check out WrestlePro. Go check out Ring of Honor. We'll do all.
Yep. Wrestle Pro Alaska. Check that out.
There you go. But yeah, getting back to Jay Lethal, he's the franchise of Ring of Honor. He's a former peer champion. He to some or to many was the favorite in the tournament. He got knocked out. Tracy Williams didn't consider it an upset, but some might.
Yeah.
How do you feel going against him? Like everybody's kind of stacking the deck against you. Like, what do you think
You're
about
right.
that?
Well, you know, he's been there so long. He's been such a cornerstone of the company. I almost look at him as like a gatekeeper. If you can hang with him, you can hang with anyone. And like I've mentioned, like 15-year-old me, that's when I started watching Ring of Honor. I saw him compete in my hometown in Edison, New Jersey. So it's kind of like it's a career accomplishment, but it's also like a personal accomplishment. I would
Mhm.
love to tell myself, you know, back then, like, just stick to it. You're gonna get to where you want to get to. So now, like 15 years later, I'm wrestling this guy. We have a pretty important match, and I think it's just like I said, you keep up with him, you can keep up with anybody. So I'm looking forward to another match with him, or you know, more matches with him in the future.
Now, Pure Championship
Yeah.
was unified. I was trying to think of the right word.
Yep.
It was around for about 2 years. It was unified, but I mean, you look at the list of champions: AJ Styles, Doug Williams, John Walters, and Jay Lethal, as we mentioned. I mean, is there anybody that, if they could come back, you would really like to see back in pure division action? I mean,
Ooh.
I think Doug and John are, the two guys available.
Right. Right. I would
Or is
love
there any?
that.
Is there any
Uh,
better question? Is there
I
anybody
have a
else that you
kind of
think would be a good
like
fit for that?
I got okay. Maybe I've got some answers for each. I got some oddball ones. Ring of Honor's Matt Striker, not WWE Matt Striker. That the other Matt Striker.
Okay.
I think he was in the original tournament to crown the first ever pure champion. Another one, I would love to see like Amazing Red in that because, you know, as much as he can fly and do all the acrobatic stuff, like he's a fantastic technical wrestler. So I would love to see him compete. And then maybe from guys in today's talent pool, um, I know Tony Deppen was in the tournament and he didn't make it past the first round. But I've wrestled him once before, and I would love to get the same opportunity. Maybe wrestle him in Ring of Honor on a bigger stage. So he's definitely a guy, and a guy like Freddie Ahai, who did great in the tournament. I've never wrestled with him. I trained with him in Germany, but we never got a match together. So I would love to do that in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I like the prospect of new, or maybe I don't want to give proper respect, but unknown names like Fred, Tony Deppen, and where they have a following, but maybe they're not familiar to the Ring of Honor audience. I feel like this is a way to bring them on TV, show technical skill in a TV setting, especially with the pandemic going on. Like you don't really have that live event element where you can be like, go out and, get the crowd to pop. So I think this is a good way to not only showcase talent, but really get Ring of Honor back to that best wrestling in the world thing that they were known for.
Right. I think there's like an opportunity to really bridge the gap because indie wrestling is more popular than ever right now. You look at places like GCW, where they're just creating stars every event. It's just like it's mind blowing how fast they're creating stars. And then I would love to see those fans check out Ring of Honor now. I
Mm.
think they would really, really enjoy it. Just that we're kind of back to like the roots of the company and bring it back to like a sport. And I think the athleticism would fit in perfectly. A lot of those guys are just killing it right now. So if we can get some of those wrestlers into Ring of Honor or vice versa and have some crossover, that would be awesome. I think the fans would really enjoy it.
Anybody on the Wrestle Pro roster you would really
Oh,
like to
Wrestle
see
Pro.
come on over?
There are a couple guys. Sean Donovan's a guy that I've had a long standing feud with. He's just a guy. I think he's just deserving of a break, and he's just fantastic, just all around on the mic, in the ring. He brings out a different side of me that I didn't know existed. Um, a guy like Bobby Wayward. Bobby Wayward's another one. He's a fantastic performer. He's a great on the mic and a super technician. So he'd be another guy that would fit in perfectly in the pure division.
I agree with those guys, and I want to throw in Matt McIntosh too. I feel like he might
Dude,
be
Matt, dude, I love Matt.
right.
Yeah,
I feel
Matt.
like he might be the wild card in that.
Yeah, it's weird because when I think of Matt, I could see him like on Impact or AEW, something like that. It's
Yeah,
yeah, just
I think he would fit anywhere.
yeah.
Um, so this weekend you have the match with Jay Lethal. You've been working Wrestle Pro. We talked about going in April. Do you have anything else coming up? I know uh, you were supposed to be wrestling for Synergy next weekend, but
Right.
that's out. So do you have any other appearances coming up? Anything you want to plug where people can
Yeah,
check out
well,
your stuff?
this weekend's a little crazy because Sunday I was supposed to actually go to Colorado for an event.
Mm-hmm.
A really really weird event that had a bunch of luchadors and Cassandra and Hikuleo and TJP and all these. It was a really weird assortment of guys, but Colorado's like shutting down, so
Mm-hmm.
that got scrapped. But I was able to pick something up tonight. Actually, I don't know when this is going to air, but tonight, Friday night, I'm wrestling Brian Pillman Jr.
Nice.
at New England All Star Wrestling, which is actually going to be hosted at the Monster Factory in New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've got a going to iPay review tonight on the Title Match Network at 8 p.m. So I'm wrestling Flying Brian Pillman
All
Jr.
right. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Title match is good stuff. I know them very well. Danny, Monster Factory. There you go. That's like, like a little bit of a homecoming for you.
Yeah, definitely. Because I New England All Star Wrestling, they're based out of Massachusetts, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it is right now running events there. In New Jersey, it's kind of wide open. It's like the Wild West right now. You could do anything.
Yeah.
So, but we've got, it's really safe. We're all taking precautions. Everyone has to get tested and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
we should have a good event tonight.
There you go. I'll get you out on this. If anybody is tuning back in this weekend to seeing you in singles action, maybe they haven't been able to follow you locally, New Jersey, is there a match that you would point to, whether it's from your Ring of Honor career or something people can check out on the WrestlePro channels or anything that, really highlights who you are as a singles wrestler?
Yeah. So I had this extremely brutal and fun match back in January before the pandemic. It was with the guy who broke me into the business. His name's Eric Corvus. So if you're a local New Jersey guy, you know who he is. He was a Jersey All Pro tag wrestler, and he's still super active on UWA Elite and Synergy. And we had this brutal I Quit match, and for me, it was a big deal because it was 10 years in the making. He's the guy who broke me in. He was the first guy to ever train me, and I had never wrestled him one on one. and it was a culmination of just years of like aggression and just there was a lot of meaning behind it, and I think you would really enjoy it if you check it out. I think it's definitely on Fight TV on
Mhm.
Synergy's channel, and it's also on YouTube under
Good.
Synergy's channel.
There you go. Check that out. Check them out. New England All Star Wrestling, Ring of Honor TV this weekend against Jay Lethal and Pure Rules action. LSG. Thanks very much for your time.
Thanks so much, man.